Sam Rose is Senior Deputy Director of UNRWA Affairs in Gaza. He joins us live now from Zuwaydah in Gaza. Sam, good to see you. Tell us, what does this ban mean for UNRWA and its operations inside Gaza?
Thanks for having me on. I mean, we're still waiting to kind of pick apart and understand precisely, but if implemented, it would be absolutely devastating. We have a population here that's on its knees, going through absolutely untold misery and suffering, and the role that UNRWA is playing here is unprecedented for any other humanitarian organization anywhere in the world, given the scope of our mandate, given the extent of our outreach. The entire humanitarian system here relies every minute of every day on UNRWA to deliver services to 2 million people living in the worst possible conditions. So any effort to change that, and this would appear to be much more than that, this is legislation now, will be devastating for us, devastating for other aid agencies, but more importantly for the population here that's suffering so much.
Gaza, as we know, is facing a humanitarian disaster, crisis. This is something we say time and time again, but you can only imagine this will be magnified on such a scale if this ban is fully implemented. You know, the most vulnerable, no doubt, will suffer the most.
Exactly. I mean, look, over the past 12 months, UNRWA has provided food assistance to 1.9 million people, 90% of the population of Gaza. We're providing shelter to hundreds of thousands of people living in and around our schools. We provide healthcare. 60% of all health consultations in Gaza are carried out by UNRWA personnel. The polio campaign, which was front page news a few weeks ago, would not have been possible without the UNRWA health personnel vaccinating hundreds of thousands of children. My staff today will continue to go to work, as they have done every day for the past 13 months, but the future right now seems very, very uncertain, sadly.
Sam, I spoke to the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations earlier. He said that Israel believes that other UN agencies will fill the void of UNRWA. I mean, how realistic is that?
I mean, it's completely unrealistic. We have 13,000 personnel inside Gaza. We have 300 installations. We have registration data of 1.8 million people, about 75% of the population. We're the organization that knows the situation on the ground. We're bringing fuel in for the entire operation. We're coordinating everything through our buildings. We are the coordination structure, and we are the lifeblood of the humanitarian operation here, and it simply isn't possible to hand that over. That's in the immediate humanitarian phase. But as we look to the future, this is a question of education for over 300,000 boys and girls who previously would go to UNRWA schools. We run a network of primary health clinics in Gaza. No other organization provides healthcare and education, and no other organization is equipped to do it. It's as simple as that. So there's the longer term recovery prospects, but more immediately now, the dire humanitarian consequences of ripping this apart.
Sam, Israel claims Hamas has infiltrated UNRWA, and that's why they want to ban it. Of course, there were several employees that were found to be working with Hamas. But how, I guess, do you respond to claims that the entire organization is tainted?
I mean, several UNRWA employees, there were a handful out of our 13,000 here and our 30,000 across the region against whom allegations were made. The UNRWA Commissioner General acted immediately. Independent investigations have been called and have been completed, and actions against a very small number of UNRWA staff members have been taken. We need to absolutely separate individuals from an organization here. We deplore any allegations that any of our staff have been involved in conduct such as this. And this is why we have taken such robust action in a kind of reverse judicial process in terms of guilty until proven innocent. But we're talking about an entire organization here, an entire organization whose mandate comes from the UN General Assembly, and wiping that mandate out in terms of preventing UNRWA from operating here in East Jerusalem and the rest of the West Bank has dire political consequences for the overall Palestinian question.
This certainly is unprecedented. And as we heard from the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, he said this will have devastating consequences. Sam Rose, we really appreciate your time. Thank you for your work.